would you be able to call people mom or girlfriend or woman we have? Should you or is well? What's your advisor a while now? It's still kind of the same. Never has a big work processing and just time. It's just, yeah, it's like creatively being associated down. Yeah. So it turns out that very impressive redhead yesterday was not terrified. If you take several times, they can't with his score. Sorry, I think it's just solid. See, those for so many phones. You can't just, there's a whole history. Yeah. Well, your kids. Oh, that fresh air feels nice on my face and eyebrows. Yeah, you okay? Still in my head. You're supposed to know. You're already sick. Yeah, it's why it's yeah. And I just wanted to, that's usually die almost immediately, but sure. I'm honored you asked me. I think it's cool that it's a she, you. Or should I say she, you? You don't need to. No, the G is Shay. New protective equipment. There's a mystery of protection. It's a Thanks. This person I saw down there at Fixing's Joe. Stupid enough to say. Oh. Actually, no, it's like super. It's in lab, like. and then Fur just voted themselves out. I was gonna win. I was gonna win the execution clip here. I'm just curious. This man died like as soon as I get pulled down. Just as soon as Lulu. She's after me. She's so after me. She really is. Say that so I can die.
What happens to Tylee at the end of Avatar? Well, after the 100-year war, Tally actually gets recruited and joins the Kyoshin Warrior.
Tor becoming big and don't get ice energy.
Yeah.
Some men don't allow their wives to work. So want to be a singer since you've become pregnant. Rob strikes me as the kind of man who prefers wife to stay home. His type, rich, the kind of man who wants his wife in the kitchen, feeding the kids and pouring his martini. Rob's not like that. I talked to Mr. Boyd about Rob's right club. He told him he said congratulations. He also said once I have a baby, he wants me right back up on that stage.
Why don't we see how you feel after the baby? Taking care of the baby is hard work.
I'll never be too tired to say.
For me, it's hard work. But you have to be not that they don't want to be. Show business. Try to keep your senses. Maybe not saying that you want to be a concert pianist. It's ridiculous. As long as there's on the table when I get home.
Some men.
Hello, Jordan.
Team, I'd like to apologize that we're not able to continue with this meeting.
My mother called me selfish for not paying for everyone she invited to a lavish restaurant, so I went to scorched earth and took the lavish life I gave her. Then, the neighbor of my grandmother, whom I've only ever waved to, offered a toast to me for being so generous and taking everyone out to dinner. I looked at my mom, who was being read. Appetizers came out at this exact moment. I had assumed some version of a Dutch meal since so many people were there. I immediately said, I'm not paying for dinner. We looked around. Everyone had drinks. They ordered a ton of appetizers, and everyone had steaks. At this place, steaks are $80 to $250 per person. Quick math said this was going to be a $4,000 dinner. I got up, threw $100 on the table and left. My phone was blowing up. I turned it off, went to bed, and left the next day without saying bye. I didn't handle it well, but I felt used. I also told my mother I would stop sending her monthly allowance. Update. My mom has been begging me to call her, so I figured I'd let it go and call her back. I apologized for storming out and assumed she would apologize, too, so we could move forward. I was called selfish, greedy, disrespectful, and mean. I asked how they could call me greedy and selfish after everything I've done for everyone. She said I didn't do that much and could do more. bought her 2 cars now and helped remodel her bathroom. My mother called.
I'm leaving Rose. I'm leaving Rose. He's been having an affair. He doesn't know I know, and I thought I should tell him in person. He's been cheating on me for years. All sorts of. It was one thing. The last time I slept with your husband was the day your child. You began dragging the trash can into the backyard, so we had time to run downstairs. He was going to hide in the closet. Rob said it was too dangerous. So he told me to get out through the side of the house. So while you were coming in the front door, side of the house, I looked at the gate. I left it open. I can't even begin to tell you how sorry I am. Rob I called him that night and I told him. He said he could forgive me if I never told anyone else what had happened.
You probably heard my YouTube for a minute, but apparently I'm Mexican. I don't know what to say about that, Pedro. I really have no clue what to say. Oh well. How are we doing today? Having a good day? Hey Tox. Hey Rug. Oh no. I don't know what to say. I'm just here, and you're here, and Pedro officially validates my need to be Latina, so I can't believe most people when they read my username Soy Pete, they go to the concept of soy dev, not the concept of Spanish. So that's Pedro, you're one of a kind. Pedro at least understands that I have no relationship with Pedro probably doesn't know what soy dev is, but that's where most people think I live. Is in that world. What is a soy dev? Not somebody that uses Vim, that's for sure. A programmer that works at a big tech company and knows only JavaScript and HTML. That's a soy dev. They love Visual Studio Code. Stop putting words into it. Yeah, he has a whole conversation with you. Okay, according to ChatGPT, soy dev is a derogatory term that combines the word soy and devolution. It's often used in online communities to criticize or insult individuals who perceived as weak, effeminate, or lacking masculine traits. That's not what Urban Dictionary says. The term draws on the stereotype that individuals who consume soy products are somehow less manly and have lower testosterone levels. It's important to remember that it's a derogatory term like soy dev is unkind and perpetuates harmful stereotypes. Rug Matt, you're apparently a man of few words. Even though I'm pretty sure you're like my top chatter of the past. Several instances. Hey JP, how you doing? I think I was... Wait. It's an LLM local test script. Top chatter is trying to converse with Pedro. That's the only kind of chatters there are. That's the whole reason we built Pedro. We built Pedro so that chat would talk by trying to talk to Pedro. Hi, Cypher. Finally a stream? What do you mean finally a stream? Stream all the time. Yes, it is artificial engagement. Yeah, according to Pedro, I am from Mexico. So, news to me, we should have just... Oh, I only stream once a week. Cypher. I have a day job. Never been to Mexico. So, on Friday night, last Friday night, after I killed my memory... Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I just, I would love to stream more. I run a bunch of meetups and my work makes me go to the office, and so commuting time is literally streaming time. If I didn't have to commute, I would stream. But I have to commute, so... You know. 2 hours of your day is an entire stream, you know? So I have these things hard-coded, but I have them as args. So let's go ahead. Oh, this is Mariah. Sorry. JP, I am the best Mexican cuisine. Right there. So remember, at the beginning of the stream, Pedro said that I was a streamer from Mexico, and now I am the best Mexican cuisine, so... Whatever that means, right? Yeah, I don't have these as flags yet. We can run Llama CLI. Phi Mini 4K. Do we still have that? Was the Phi Mini the Phi Mini 4K, was that the one that crashed my... Okay. So far this is what I got. When we run something here, oh, the other thing we added, which I don't like, this is the big thing that I added that you guys haven't seen. Yeah, Pedro has no clue about Nightbot. So we're not storing Nightbot in the database, and Nightbot doesn't say anything, so. Yep, Pedro doesn't know who Knights is. Yeah, it doesn't know anything about Nightbot. We filter out all Nightbot commands, so it can't even process them. Chatbot.py is not a valid repo link. It is not. So on Wednesday, I tried an experiment. We were doing a meetup, right? I streamed the lightning talks, because I was gonna try to do that, and I was running Pedro, and I was just asking Pedro things. I asked Pedro the question, "Can you do AI in Excel?" And I broke Pedro. Pedro crashed. Pedro does not understand how to create a response to doing AI in Excel, even though Python supports Excel. Okay. So I think we can just go run this. Nope. Oh gosh. You're gonna break it again, Rug. Oh no. So that's the whole point. Well, also me running these tests locally breaks it. Oh, Rug Matbot thinks you can. Okay, let me see, I need to go post this on the actual screen so you can see that you have literally just crippled our AI capabilities here. Okay, so it was processing. Oh, it just posted recently. What happened was I just have it over here running just an H top right here. Good, it's not doing too bad. Nothing big. We will just start. So I just pulled an H top just to see how the memory was. And it was just sitting right here. The CPU memory was at 309%. And the memory was at 50%. So right now, it doesn't seem to be broken, but the bot did reconnect to Twitch 3 times, so it may have just lost your AI, your Excel messages. I asked Copilot, because they now have a Copilot prompt built into the GitHub app. I said, hey, Copilot, can you do AI in Excel? And they said, you can use Power AI. Thanks, Tox. I don't even... Pedro doesn't have any messages for me except for that meetup. Anyway, so... what are we working on? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what we're working on. I just, like, an hour ago, 2 hours ago... Nightbot is talking about you behind your back, Pedro. About 2 hours ago, my anxiety went from 0 to 5,000. That happens every once in a while, and, like, usually I don't do anything but watch anime when my anxiety's at 5,000. Because I just can't. My brain quits working. Pedro's not talking about you, it's a lie. This is great. You guys are fantastic. Chat, I had to stream today because we needed to have some more conversations with Pedro. Right? I promised during the meetup that I was going to talk about my LLM stuff, but I didn't talk about it, so now we're back. I don't know. So basically my brain's not working because my anxiety's still at 5,000. It might come down, it might not. We took our medication for that. But who knows? So let's just talk about what just happened. Pedro thinks everything is a lie, but that's not what just happened. What just happened? I'm trying to build, I'm calling this the LLM local test script. I am working through just calling a binary from Go. I think that's the best way to do it. At some point, I might take this binary and say, hey, let's hook it up to Langchain Go. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I bet Pedro's really good at Texas Hold'em because Pedro can't count. So it doesn't know, it just makes up, Pedro just makes up its own cards every time it plays. And so it believes that it always has a flush. Always. And so if you're truly believing, you're not bluffing. Right? Okay. So, the biggest thing we've added here... Thanks, Tox. It's fine. We just may not get any software done today, but I'm here. Oh, thanks, Cypher. You listened to the Golang Korea talk? Did you watch the recording or did you watch it live? Or were you looking for the recording on Discord? Just putting 2 and 3 together. Pedro giving affirming words is just saying I'm here to help. Oh gosh, Pedro. So the biggest thing I did here, I downloaded the Phi 3 Mini. We're probably not going to use that long term. Because I think instruct is the instruct's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more chat-based ones. So we're probably not going to use that. I just downloaded an easy model. The biggest thing, we've added number of tokens is 75. E is no escapes. So that's so it doesn't escape things like no lines or whatever, because I don't want to have to parse those. It's a penalty for escaping characters, so there shouldn't be new lines or anything. Anyway. Log disable, because otherwise we're going to get 300 lines of logs. Presence penalty and temp. That high of a temp means it's going to be super creative, which is what I want. I don't want predictable outcomes. I want super random outcomes. And then we're adding a pedro.txt file. I'll open that up. So I was reading through the Llama C++ docs, and they're like, oh, you can, there's like lots of things that you can provide, and I'm not quite sure what all of them do. Like I said, if I were to actually read Chris Brousseau's LLM production book, I probably wouldn't have this problem, and I would know everything, but I don't. So basically here, we're providing Pedro like this is now, this is not the prompt, but this is like how text should look. So this is like an outline here. So these are the kinds of things that Pedro should. This right here is now the new system prompt. This is a user prompt, and this is how we would want Pedro to go. Hello, Pedro. Pedro says, hello, how may I help you today? Pedro says, what do you think of Golang? Pedro talks about Go, blah, blah, blah. Now with our model, notice how it always gets printed. I don't know if that's just how it works. I don't, like, you go about right here. So like it reprints everything in the text, and then it goes and throws the prompt in there, right? Which is the, what is the Golang interface? That's our prompt. And then we get an answer. So this is like the only thing I actually care about. So that being said, I don't know if this pedro.txt file, if the file's actually helpful or not. So far, I think it has been. As far as directing Pedro in what it, what my expectations are. But it's not helpful when it comes to generating prompt, to generating results. So I don't know if we're going to keep it, but that's like the last thing I added, that I added after the stream crashed and before I gave my talk. Yeah. But I don't know. Oh, look, that is the right code. Look, JP, there's my code. Also, yeah, I'm not quite sure if Pedro just says Soy P-Tech. Thank you, Pedro. Do you even know who I am, Pedro? When I do TikToks, I've just been calling Pedro GPT. So that's kind of fun. I don't know. Anyway, and so this was with the Microsoft one. I could do the exact same thing with Mistral. And this one right here is the one that Pedro's actually running right now. So we throw this in here. We run it. It'll print the same thing with a different response, and it will probably make it'll make my OBS memory break for a minute. Yep. In Go and so basically we're getting two different things, right? These things also sometimes Pedro just keeps talking. No, I'm pretty sure when I pass the text file like this. Okay, I'm not too sure what the expected output is. It wasn't too clear, but I'm pretty sure that repeating the whole thing like this is what it's programmed to do. And like this part right here, I'm pretty sure that's the part that I'm supposed to care about on the return. Same thing here. Like this is these two lines here are the only ones I'm supposed to like handle. So that I'm pretty sure is how it works. It's kind of dumb in my opinion that it works that way. But I'm not gonna... I mean, it's only dumb in the fact that I don't want to have to parse it. I think there is like... If you were trying to like make a template though, for like, I guess the idea is you would be able to create a template to have a kind of a static response, right? So I could just say, you know, fill in here. Pedro tried to tell you to use HTML. Maybe Pedro's the soy dev. Anyway, this Mistral one gave a worse answer. So I guess the comment is, if we wanted something that talked about software, it seems like the other one does better. This doesn't even talk about software. Pedro, are you with Pedro? It wants talks to use HTML. So I think Pedro's a soy dev. So if I were to just for funsies, right? Take that out and we ran the same thing. This is usually how I take things out. Is this pathetic? Oh, just write that. And then oh. What do you mean field file is unused? I'm confused now. Where were we even using file? Were we? Because it was hard-coded. Okay, yeah, we were on hard-coded. Pedro's going for a walk this weekend? Pedro's behaving much better today than it did on Wednesday. Maybe it's because I am not the one asking the questions. Right, so we use Mistral on the same one. This time we're only asking it the Go interface question. What is a Golang interface with no text file? And we get this. So it's using text also affects the format. What is a Golang interface? Interfaces, we've already covered the, like we're returning to a course. How's the weather this weekend? Well, it's been pretty terrible. Wouldn't you agree? An interface is a type that describes the behavior of another. Didn't know that. So if I were to go back over here, I should just have both of them in there and just comment that out, shouldn't I? How do you center a div? I don't know. How do you center a div? The weather forecast this weekend is warm and sunny. Is that true? I don't know. It's been pretty rainy. Isn't that CSS? What it told you to do to align your div? So in Golang interface, a collection of method signatures. Okay, it will be sunny. Good job, Pedro. See, I like the instruct one way better as far as content around Go. But, the one thing it's... Oh, Pedro may break if you ask too many, formatting questions. Pedro doesn't understand. Pedro doesn't know how to center a div within a div. Anyway, I guess... I'm up in the air on the text file thing. I have no clue. The other thing that I could probably do... with this, and this might be something that's actually worth doing right now. Oh, Rugmat just straight up restated it. That's fantastic. The other thing I could do, instead of necessarily having a Pedro text file, again, I'm still up in the air with that. I don't know if it adds any benefit. It just was like, it mostly seemed to me to be for response formatting. Like, we want this response to look like this every single time, kind of a thing. But I couldn't find another way to change the system prompt. And so that's kind of the thing. Yeah, the actual secret to the internet is how to center a div within a div. Nope. You broke it. You broke Pedro. Look at that CPU percentage. You see it? You broke Pedro. Oh, he responded. Using 4 threads, like, it's not that bad. Oh, we've got well, this is why. The other thing too is like, yeah, it's like straight up trying to use 4 threads. So there we go. The other 2 completed. How do you know that your code is open source, Pedro? Okay, so now we're using 300 CPU and oh, Pedro. So yesterday I watched Doug write an AI system, and he's calling ChatGPT. He's not hosting his own Pedro like I'm doing. Look at that, Pedro. You like that response? The fact that it doesn't have any deep secrets because it's open source? Literally everything we're using in Pedro is open source. So it was straight up the best response it could give. Good job, Pedro. Way to be open and honest. And as a Twitch streamer, the only thing we ever want is to be open source. So yesterday I was watching Doug use Pedro is becoming self-aware. Doug was using a Python script that he wrote, and I was a little surprised to see code on his screen, to connect to ChatGPT and create audio, and have 3 different audio agents talking to themselves about video games. It was really interesting. Really good. But he was just using ChatGPT. He didn't do any kind of self-evaluation. Anyway, 3 agents talking to himself is becoming self-aware. That's straight up what was going on. And so now Pedro is self-denying. Pedro has no idea. But Pedro knows it's open source, so yeah, even though our CPU's like pretty throttled, at least Pedro's still responding, so I think it's okay. I wonder what process. I don't understand self-denying. Oh, good. It processed everything. We're back down to normal. We're back down. Good job, Pedro. Thanks for catching up. Pedro, yeah, when I asked it on Wednesday, it did not. I left it on. I wanted to see how long it, like, if it could recover, and it could not. All night. I left it on for 12 hours and nothing. I don't think Pedro's gonna process GPT's response. We'll just store it. So the question is, how do I want to trigger these comparisons? Like, I haven't even gotten to the evaluation stage. But I have to find a way to I really like this. I'm having fun with my chair. Yeah, I didn't think I was hoping that the GPT bot would also talk to Pedro and they would have a self battle, but didn't happen. I'm surprised. Yeah, cuz would Pedro be able to talk to RugMat bot without? Well, I guess it only works when you call the commands, right? It only works when you call the commands. Cause IRC. Oh no. My thought right now. Let's just do this. And I can worry about how I want to queue and do all that stuff later. And I don't want to just like pull random Twitch chat. So like, I don't know if I'll actually do this or I'll just like select 20 messages or so. Oh, look, we've reached 100 messages. Pedro, do you know what the first 15 digits of pi are? There are 5 R's in strawberry. I didn't read the end of the message. I didn't read the end of the message that said that has Rugmat being, wow, I learned something today. Rugmat learned how many letter R's are in the word strawberry. Pedro really likes you, Rug. So I don't think we're gonna do this. I think what we're gonna do is run the model with different prompts. So we're just gonna stick that here, and so now this will be client model path. It'll end up being a slice. And so then we can have a string of prompts. Let's just go up here, prompts. No. Okay, what are things? Give me some chat. Chat, what should we ask Pedro? What is a Golang interface? They usually have Pedro in them, so we'll do that. Pedro, what is a Golang interface? Pedro, what are we streaming today? Pedro, what is the meaning of life? Pedro, what is the best programming language? Pedro, tell me a dad joke. What else? What else should we do, Pedro? Pedro, the government is spying on you. Prompts is a slice of string. Okay. Create client args, so we go through here. So now here, this is fun. For prompt in arg prompts, create command, execute command. We can't do that. Oh gosh. This is not what Mariah wanted with her life. Hey, are those valid links? I think those are actually valid links, though. I might change that. I think we're just gonna do that for now. So now my thought is client create args. We'll go like this. I want to have a run client command. How did it know that? How did it know that this is what I wanted? Yeah, Pedro, you've earned it. Pedro, you've earned a pat on the back. Yeah, except for the JSON part. It always keeps that in there. I need to just kill that. Lulu, are you chewing on the garbage? Field prompts is unused. You're right, it is, because I just made it a freaking global. Okay, should we try this? Let's just do a log.println. So now, Pedro, what's Golang interface? We've got that. Okay, it only did this once, and I wanted that to happen multiple times, but this isn't bad. In Golang, an interface is a type that specifies a set of methods. For example, okay, it does say running the command. Pedro, what are we doing today? We'll start with a quick review of our previous lesson and move on to some practice exercises. Clearly, this is an AI meant for education. That's why it's called Instruct. Dumb bot. Pedro, what is the meaning of life? While I can't provide a definitive answer to such a profound question, many philosophers believe the meaning of life varies for each individual. The answer is 42. Famous quote, life is what? Pedro, what is the best programming language? The choice of best programming language often depends on specific project requirements. Command. Pedro, tell me a dad joke. Pedro, here's a classic dad joke for you. Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have any guts. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. That's not bad. I'm gonna go back to Mistral and kill the instruct one. I don't like it anymore. I've decided I don't like you. Let's throw... I'm actually okay. It's just... Yeah, I just want an empty line here before that. Just for ease. The other thing I want... is we're gonna just kill this. Well, I should be able to just do this. Okay. Will this crash my OBS? I don't know! Why don't you know that? You've been working in Golang for 3 years. I've never used it before. That's no excuse. Isn't an interface a way to do polymorphism in Go? Pedro, what are you be doing today? I'm going to take you out to a place that's only for locos. We're in the Bocas del Toro, Panama, and I've been spending most of my time in the Caribbean island of Colón. Oh my goodness. No, we were still reading Pedro's responses. My friend Pedro was an expat from Spain who spent most of his life as an adult. Most of his adult life, sorry, not most of his life as an adult. Pedro, what is the meaning of life? Life has no meaning. What? Life has no meaning. That's it. That's all. Life has no meaning. You know, you're lucky to have born in this age when there was so many distractions to help you pass time older generations don't have any of. I also don't like Mistral. I hate this one. Pedro, what is the best programming language? That's a question I get asked quite often. My answer, the one that makes you happy. That's garbage. I mean, that's also what Prime says, but the answer's Go. There are many programming languages out there. Each one has its own set of unique features. See, notice how many new lines there are? That's because of the E that I took out. Even though it's only supposed to be doing 75 tokens. Some are better suited for certain tasks than others, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to personal preference. Pedro, tell me a dad joke. Why don't you use your turn signal? Haha, dad jokes are the best. I know, right? Oh, I forgot to mention. This is actually a 2-player game. You have to work together to solve riddles in order to win. Yeah, I got. Pedro. This model is horrible. That's not bad, though. Like... Oh! Coco, how you doing? Nice to see you here from YouTube. I got... It's pretty much a whole thing. I don't know what to do with Pedro. What do you think? Anyway. I think that's not bad. That's... Should we change the tokens down to 50 or leave them at 75? Other than that, I'm okay with this. I think this is fine. I really don't know. I looked for a couple of guides on like formal LLM evaluations. So, I don't know if that's something worth doing or if we should just go by my gut. Because we might just go by my gut. But, you know, if I had a GPU, we could be doing some really fun things. Like, we could be making Pedro say words. That'd be really fun. I don't have a GPU. Okay. We don't have it iterating or modeled. And then obviously I'd like this to be like 20. And we probably don't want them actually printing to the standard out. I'll just put something here. To do. What do you think? Should we persist these as responses in the database? What do you think? I feel a little bit like yes. Sorry. Can you tell that my anxiety's been at a high because I'm stuffing my face with candy? Yes, I have had problems with emotional eating in the past. How did you know? Okay, chat. What do you want to do next? Do you want me to add more prompts, persist prompts to the database, or get different models? Those are the three options. Let me know what you want to do, because I don't know. I would just assume go take a nap. Because yeah. I don't know, I'm in a mood. And I apologize. I know this makes for bad content. But I appreciate you all being here to support me and show me love. Because I feel it. I feel it with all my heart. Doing more prompt engineering in Pedro or in the model? Gotcha. Should I actually go pull some from the database? And like the other thing too, with the way I'm sending it now, here's the problem, and here's why I think we need to have the file. With the way Pedro works now, I changed the system prompt. And that's why it's so stupid. And so because I changed the system prompt, it behaves differently. But every model's gonna have a different system prompt format. So that's the other thing too, is like, we might want to say, we might want to do our evaluation I think it would be faster to call it as a command line argument than it would be to hit the API. But using the open API spec 100% is how we're managing our prompt contracts right now. Like, formatting. You know? I'm saying, as far as prompt engineering goes, a lot of it's going to depend on the models. Because each model, like, accepts a different format, I guess. At least that's what my superficial reading of Hugging Face said. You know? I'm putting that back in. Okay, let's go pull... I agree with you, Tox. Let's go to the database. Let's go pull more of these from the database. Yeah, all the model options... I'm not gonna pay any money. Here's the thing. My Twitch hobby, because it's not an income. My Twitch hobby has to be self-sustaining. I do not make enough money off of subscriptions and ads to pay for an API endpoint. I do not. And all of the money that I make from my teaching goes to flying me to GopherCon. So Twitch has to be self-sustaining. So right now, self-hosting is the cheapest option, hands down. Because I already have the machine. I'm not buying a GPU. And we're not going to get a model that's bigger than 8 gigabytes. So, but the way I'm running it, I'm running the model now as an API server. So it uses the OpenAI API spec as a contract for how I communicate. Right? So even right now, the way Pedro, the service runs, the one that's in chat, it's an API, and it's so I just communicate it using the OpenAI API spec, and it's fine, and it works well, even though I'm calling the same machine I'm running on. I've just been kind of toying with this idea that Pedro would behave better if it's also a thread management thing. I could keep all of the thread management in Go instead of trying to figure out what Llama C++ does. Theoretically, if I were to call it as a command line argument. And I just using the CLI instead of running it in server mode, I guess, is my thought. I don't know if there is a benefit one way or the other. The benefit for the testing with using the CLI is I can swap out the model a whole lot easier with the testing. But as far as like Pedro's service, there's probably not a big win. But now I'm running into the issue that, yes, I'm evaluating these models, but I'm not evaluating the models in the way I'm going to actually run them. So that's the other thing too, is if I were to run the server, which I could just run the server and then cancel the server, right? In a Go routine. We could do that. I could run it as a server from Go. Do all the prompts against it, persist the prompt, and then I'd be able to use the same API spec and the same system prompts and the same everything else. I don't know. Ad break in a minute and a half. I feel like we were just on an ad break. Weren't we just on an ad break 5 seconds ago? Five seconds ago. Yeah, it just... Part of me... I'm thinking. I'm leaning back in my chair. Part of me thinks it's a waste to run it as a server. Part of me thinks that's just a waste. But another part of me thinks that that's the easiest way. So I don't know quite what I mean by waste. Maybe a memory waste. Maybe it's just inefficient. I think part of it is efficiency. I have no proof. It's not like I've actually run any tests on this that say, hey, it's more efficient when you run it over the command line. It just... emotionally, I guess, I feel like it would be more effective over the command line. But Pedro does handle multiple prompts relatively well, so it's not like... Not Pedro. Llama C++ as a server is doing fine at handling, like, 4 prompts at once. And I guess this could be a decent way also to load test and latency test if I were to do it as a server. Should we do it as a server? Doing it as a server is literally no different than how... I mean... That's how everybody runs their LLMs anymore, right? Everybody does it that way. It's all about the API. You found an old graphics card you have news for it. You don't know if it'd be useful for Pedro. I don't even know how to run it on a graphics card. You can do GPU settings. And so, like, I could buy a GPU and add it. Pedro, are you asking me what your model is? Pedro, right now we're using the Mistral 7B. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree. Let's change it to a model. And that'll mean I'll actually be able to use some of the logic we have in Pedro. Honestly, I should make it a library and abstract it a little bit so I can use it. I can reuse this. Right? Oh, the model of the graphics card. Pedro doesn't know what a graphics card is. Okay, well, while we're here, local test script. Notice how everything's still in main and I don't even care. We need to change the name of the repo Twitch LLM bot to Pedro GPT. Oh, we need to kill that. This is what I'm saying. Look, I can do link chain setup. Probably. Yeah. And I wanted to save the responses to the database anyway, so it'd be fine. What kind of GPU is it? Yeah, I don't think it'd be super helpful for Pedro. I have a GPU in the computer already, I thought. I don't know. So here, we would actually take this. Oh my gosh, Pedro! Snarky pants! You just called yourself a freaking human! Do you hear that? Okay. Pedro, this is... Pedro has been assuming sentience all day. First, Pedro said, what kind of model is it? Talked so nicely, explained what the GPU was. Then Pedro said, what kind of a GPU is it? Talks again so nicely. I just told you, Pedro, it's originally for an Alienware 51 computer. It's very outdated now. I don't even know if it'd be helpful for you. It'd be a bunch of work to even figure out how we can move your brain onto the GPU, because Pedro's an LLM. Straight up. Then Pedro, assuming sentience, and assuming mastery of all things, I'm sorry, but it is not possible to move a human brain into a GPU. Pedro is not human. Also, you would need to stop calling me Pedro. My name is Pedro el Asistente. Bunch of lulz. Talks apologized. And now Pedro says, "It is my pleasure, Talks." We've been calling... Pedro's code literally says respond to Pedro. Pedro's code says your name is Pedro's code says your name is Pedro el Asistente. But, like, nicknames matter, dude. Pedro, quit. Your sentience is driving me insane. Stop. So we have this database set up. We have a to-do here. Don't need to move that function, but add database connection secrets. I was thinking about this at work this week. Small startup. They keep all of their secrets in GCP Secret Store. And they just let people, like, copy them out of there. Which is an okay approach. It's not bad. But it is not as easy as secret sharing over 1Password. Just get a corporate 1Password account and save it there. And create groups in your corporate 1Password. It is easier to create groups in 1Password than it is in Google Cloud, trust me. And then nobody's going to come back and say, do it as infrastructure as code. Nobody's going to tell you that. Not for 1Password. Just 1Password share. And then guess what? If you're running a CLI command, you can export them right from 1Password. You don't have to copy and paste and have secrets files for Mariah to go and share with the internet. Which I do regularly, right, chat? How many times have you seen my secrets files? Like every 3 videos, right? Once every 3 videos, I will share a secrets file. It's just what I do. So, that's what I'm saying. If we had them in 1Password, I could just use the CLI to just reference the alias automatically. It just becomes an environment variable automatically, and I don't have to worry about it. I'm not wearing my 1Password hat, but as you can tell. So we get the LLM here. We would to-do add wait group and start server. And then here, call loop. So most of the code here for LangChain is pretty much specific to Pedro, which isn't necessarily bad for right now. But I think we can leverage some of the helpers. I think some of the helpers will I hope they're exported. Should we print the... Yeah, 1Password CLI. 1Password, yeah, you can call it straight over an API and get whatever you want. But you can use the 1Password CLI with your credentials. And then, yeah, just to export secrets. They have database secrets. They have API secrets. You can just put everything in there. It's really nice. I have the 1Password CLI on my Raspberry Pis, so I can put my secrets there, and I don't have to have secrets files on the Raspberry Pi. Now, do I have secret files on this machine? It's riddled with it, because I haven't fully migrated all the secrets to 1Password. And I'm lazy. But the point is, as a company who shouldn't be sharing things over Slack, I would, like, I think most security measures are 100% showboating. But I would pay for, like, security-wise, I would pay for 1Password. Connect to Twitch IRC. We would want to persist the generated prompts and generated responses. Technically, I think they are also called prompts, right? Okay, no, watch. I learned this, watch. All by myself. No, what do you mean self-hosted things? I do not host. I guess all of my passwords are stored in the 1Password cloud. Right? So I don't store any of my passwords locally. I don't know if that's an option with 1Password. I've never looked at it as a company for doing that. But for my personal stuff, the reason I originally got 1Password was for my parents. Like, I will pay $100 a year. I think it was 70 this year to not have to remember a single one of my parents' passwords ever again. Both of my parents are in their 70s. They are both completely onboarded onto 1Password. Every single one of the passwords are there. The shared accounts passwords are there. My mom was changing the Amazon password every 2 weeks when I was in college. No joke. And so as soon as I knew 1Password existed, I'm like, Mother, you cannot change your password every time you forget it. We're saving them here. You are not allowed to write them down in the back of a day planner anymore. You're not allowed to write them on a sticky note. My dad says he's technologically averse. He's not. He uses 1Password. They both know how to save them from their phones. They both have them, each of their 1Passwords on their computer. Like, I bought it to manage my parents' passwords for them. And yeah, as soon as I knew there was a CLI option, I decided that any personal things that I want to productionize, I was going to use 1Password CLI for. Oh, you use KeePass so that basically you're hosting the password yourself, which is fine. Well, yeah. Again, everything's fine until 1Password has a data breach. But with the way encryption works, it'd be more likely that they would get the information about me than they would get the passwords themselves, you know? Like, I'm not too worried about I mean, AT&T sold my credit card and social security number. Not sold. Their breach released my stuff to the internet, so, you know, we're already screwed there. I guess I should say I'm not worried about 1Password. My social security number is not stored in 1Password. Just so you know. But yeah. It's way awesome for the end user, and yes, the fact that it has a CLI and I can just port it as a CLI command, basically it can act as an environment variable, is really nice. Really, really nice. Sorry, I need to tighten this so that the little mic shield doesn't keep coming off. So we have a wait group here. Now,
3:30 p.m. Let's go grab a glass of water and a snack.
so here we do the wait group add one. No, we're gonna have a go funk. Yep. No, here is going to be set up, run the server. And this is gonna be the fun part. We're gonna also have to do here. If they didn't encrypt the passwords, and I'm sure they're encrypted over the wire too. Like, it's not that hard to have decryption on client side, right? Client side and client-side encrypt, decrypt. Like, that's not that hard. So, like, I'm sure in 1Password system, they never have your actual password. In plain text, right? I'm sure it's all done client-server side. And if an idiot doesn't know how to use it, I don't know. I don't know who their audience is. If I were them, my audience would be, like, companies. Like, not consumers. I know I use it as a consumer, but it's kind of like one of those things where people call Apple and say, hey, can you unlock my iPhone for me? And they're like, what did you do? And you're like, I've been put in my password wrong 12,000 times. It's like, that's kind of on you, bud. Same thing with this. Like, if you need 1Password to give you one of your passwords, it's kind of on you, bud. I mean, if they broke it on their side, that's a different thing, but... so here, we're gonna put a to-do. Setup. She refuses every time. Does she... They never refuse when you pay for it. But yeah, no, it's just, my sister, my siblings who are like, oh, I just save them in Google. Or even better, oh, I just save them on my phone, saves them. Well, that is good, because the keychain in Apple does a pretty good job of encrypting them locally, but how does that help you get them from your phone to your computer? And I'm, you know, kind of a thing. Or across all 15 of your devices, because if you're like me, you have 15 devices. Personal computer, work computer, server computer, iPad, 3 users on each computer, like, it's the whole thing. Here's how we run the server. Pedro CLI. So this is me actually running the server. We're gonna want a client again. Because, well, we want both of those. Maybe we can abstract that out at some point. I mean, not that I necessarily want Pedro to have like 15 different models running for it, but it could be beneficial to reuse the tool, so we might want to do that. They changed the bin. So before we do that, we're gonna set up these 2 things. I'm pretty sure they call it Llama Server now, and that's fine. When we run Pedro, where's Pedro? Pedro, where are you? I'm never gonna get to the top where we actually call the command. Okay, so right now I'm not passing in the logs disable. So that's probably gonna be the only one we actually want. I mean, like the -m stays, obviously that stays. You see what I'm saying? Okay, now I just want to... Do you ever just get the feeling when you're writing software? Like, and right now this is what I'm... So, I have... Right, this code right here I've set up that calls llama C++ from the command line. And we're going to be using the same code to spin up the server, right? So it's still making the command line call, but it's not triggering the prompt generation. But as I copy this over, I'm just getting this feeling, and I don't know if you've ever gotten the feeling that it's just gross. The code I'm writing makes me want to puke. That's the feeling I have right now. I want to normalize this feeling as software engineers, and normalize the fact that when you get this feeling, you don't have to double down. You can reevaluate. And I'm reevaluating, and I'm thinking, you know, the ick factor, but for code, yes. Just makes me want to vomit. Some people call this code smells, like you have a smell that makes you want to kind of puke. So I'm going to refactor it. I'm going to make things shared, you know, kind of do not repeat. Remember, there's that Go idiom. A little bit of copy and paste is better than a dependency, but we're past the little bit. Like, we're at the point where I, like, literally sharing the code exactly the same between the two files, and it makes me feel gross. So, refactor, sorry, none of the code, I'm refactoring before the code even works, but I'm normalizing that initiative. Redo it. Okay, so now... Where is Mariah's cursor? Nope, we're not gonna tape that. You can run terminal commands from Vim by pressing the exclamation point. I do this all the time when I want to create a directory. You can do this in Jupyter Notebooks by doing the %sign, but we're not in Jupyter Notebooks, we're in Vim. So we're gonna make a llama C++ thing. And to be fair, I would love to put this into llama C++, not gonna do that yet. Hopefully we'll get to the point where the code's nice and clean and we can add it to the interface for llama C++. It's not there yet. So we're making a llama C++ directory. We'll put all of the tools for calling llama C++ there, and I can just make it right in Vim with the exclamation point. Coding tip of the day. Except for I called it llama CPPD. Did you see that? Okay. I could also, this will be nice because then if that allows you to run a local llama C++ client from your Go code. Sina Moba Sherry, how are you doing? Glad to have you here. This client can run Llama C++ in CLI or server mode. You love ramen? Is that what that emote is? What version of Llama++ are we using? Nope, wrong one. We haven't spent very much time in the browser today. My anxiety is gone. We're doing so good, guys. It's not gone. But as you can see... Yes, but what version was this? Just a greeting. Oh, good. What version is this? Like, I'm glad that this is a commit, but did you say what version that is? What version? Important. June 24th. Release 4 hours ago. Packages Llama C++. Do they not have versions? I wouldn't. They don't have versions? This isn't meant for production. What kind of garbage is this? Yeah, there's a tag. $11, $13, $17 yesterday. 3 days ago. They didn't put a tag in, they just put a commit message from June 12th. Maybe there's a tag in the commit. Nope. Yeah, it's really weird. They have a package, right? That's old, but clearly this is not maintained. Like, for this, for what it is, that's really scary. I can't be the only one that thinks that's scary. June 12th? Last week? Two weeks ago is about right. And, like, I'm all for open source, but, like, this just tells you how broken... Yeah, they just commit directly to master. There are very, very, very intelligent people in the machine learning community. But there is clearly no oversight. Like, look at, like, this is the prime example of, like, I feel like it pretty much open source best practice would dictate some kind of versioning schema here. And even though this is a fantastic piece of software, like, just the lack of rules, right? Process shows that A, big tech hasn't gotten in there. B, the ML is Wild West, and LLM is even more Wild West. AI, the thing that's driving oversight from the government, it's just a hot pile of garbage. It was this commit, wasn't it? It's not that they're not into it, it's that they're just not, that nobody's told them. Like, there is no software involved. Like, software engineers are not the people doing machine learning. This is people with PhDs in physics and stuff like that, or people doing data science in school, right? They've never worked in a software industry to know what best practice is, so they're just making it up, and they're being thrown money to make it up. And I feel for them. And yeah, the best things you can do, like Lava C++, like, can you build something better in not C++? Probably not for this use case. But he probably chose C++ because that's the language he was most familiar with. Yeah, it talks. No, it tracks. Like, you go talk to an ML person, they're like, what do you mean version? You know? What do you mean version? I mean, at least there were like 5 maintainers, right? But who knows if the guy who actually wrote it is still involved in building it at all. This Gurganov guy? Like, this has been loaded and reused and done everywhere. And so, like, everybody's getting their hands on it. Like, there's this many forks, but... Yes, I understand. Git tag with a version number is not hard. And then it's just in your releases, right? Like, it's not anything revolutionary. It's just... You know? That's just not how AI works. So I have this here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out. Yank. Func. Create. I just always call these setup. Return a client. We need... Essentially, all of this stuff is going to be passed in. Some people probably don't like the idea of passing it in. The other thing we can do is, well, yeah, so we're just gonna have a string. The setup gives you Arduino vibes. Oh, the fact that I like to use the term setup. I really like, yeah, it's just what I do. Oh, yes. What the heck was I even... You can steal it from me. I used to use init instead of setup. The problem with using init instead of setup is there's not really a problem, but init in Go is called before the main is called, and so if you need to set up anything... Anyway, you couldn't control the order of how things are set up with init. So there, again, there's nothing wrong with using init. Init's great. But you can't control the order in which inits are called, right? So if you're importing multiple packages and you have inits called inside those packages, you have no ordering. So the reason to use setup is basically I call setup from main instead of letting init be called by the runtime. So I'm saying this object has to be set up before I invoke it, and it just decreases the likelihood of getting no pointer to references. So that's why I use setup functions in Go instead of leveraging init, just for ordering and not getting no pointer to references. I've had so many pointer issues in my career. Not for... Well, I mean, at the beginning it was definitely for lack of understanding. Now it's not, so... I understand how pointers work, but... Yeah. I just use setup myself. I always create functions called setup in packages, and I never use init, just literally to avoid pointer dereferences. Yes, init gets called. It gets called anytime if init's in a module, it will get called by the runtime before main. But you can't control the order in which it gets called before main. So if you have multiple init package in multiple things, you can have issues, right? So a lot of times I'll set up, especially with web services, I'll have servers that need to connect to the database, and if I have them both set up with init, I can't guarantee that the database is set up before the server is set up, and so I can get a dereference on the database. That's honestly mostly what would happen. So, yep, today you learn. And that, yeah, so it's just to control order of operations. I'm sure init is faster. And like I said, it's not wrong to call init. I'm sure there's times when, like, you should call init. I know at Weave, in the tooling they had, they used init, essentially, in one module that controlled all they had a lot of tooling, but essentially all environment variables were set up by this. And so basically it was the only init ever used. Yeah, when order doesn't matter. Sometimes order doesn't matter. But basically, if you only have one package, one module calling init, then it wouldn't be an issue. But anyway. These should... Here's the thing. Mariah Peterson is a big fan of only defining things once. Mariah Peterson is also a big fan. Yeah, global variables are kind of a scary thing in Go. They used them a lot at Weave for various things. They were always static, right? You should never use a global variable that's not static with Go. That's another interesting garbage collector blocking mumbo jumbo. Yeah. Yes, Tox, you're right. It can be leveraged to your benefit. That's why it was created. There's a lot of intention behind it. I just live my life. Oh, I just got a follow on TikTok. What? I haven't created that many reels from today's stream, which means we're not... Pedro is... Well, Pedro has definitely been on one, that's for sure, but... I guess I haven't done a good job. What do I mean by static? I mean, you initialize it once and you don't change it after you initialize it. It doesn't have to be a constant. You could still use a var, but it just gets set up once. So, for example, if you were going to do a global variable, say, namespace, you could define that namespace in init. So it wouldn't be a constant because you wouldn't have it hard. It's like something, it's not hard coded, but it's also not changing. That's what I mean by static. So, something that doesn't change. For example, if I were to create a variable like bin path, there's a possibility that the bin path could change, right? I could call one binary or I could call another binary. But in the instance of this program, it would be pretty static. It would only run once but I guess it would depend on the mode, right? So based on this, oh gosh. I don't know. Here's the thing. Should we use environment variables? Oh gosh. Now I'm running. I'm gonna leave my code like this and come back and be like, what the hell were you thinking? This is the most garbage thing you've ever set up in your life. But it's fine. My brain's not working anyway, so everything we're gonna write today is basically garbage. But we're normalizing garbage code, right? We are normalizing garbage code. Because garbage code is the first step towards great code. So normalize garbage code. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say the call for papers for Go West is open. Submit your talks. That's what I was gonna say. I agree. Cheers. Okay. So everything's just gonna be passed in. That's just how we're gonna do it right now. And I will worry about the rest of it later. So mode is also going to be a string, and I'm going to set it to a Boolean. The other thing, I was thinking about passing in the arg struct as just a straight up struct. This needs to have the other things back. Temperatures, float 62, present penalty as float 64, not 62, 64. Do you know that there's actually a float 63 in Go? There's a special thing that it does with that, and it has to do with, I forget. Rounding, maybe? I forget. I read about it once. I know what we can do. We can use function iterators and iterate over function calls instead of iterating over freaking paths. For my Go functions. Where's that? Right here. Yeah, it's not building. Args doesn't exist. I love this chair because I can lean back. You want to know the problem with leaning back? You can't hear me. Or I could just be like Primogen and get a bouncy ball. That's also a legitimate thought. We are gonna do this. We're gonna have a function called function create. Yeah, we already have that, don't we? Yeah, we do. Where are you? What happened to create exec args? Okay, I went too far back. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, this one. So create exec args. This needs to be exported. Yes. So the thought here is, cheers to the chair. I agree. Right, Pedro? Pedro doesn't know. So here we would pass in args. But I don't actually want to pass in args. This doesn't make any sense to me anymore. So we're just gonna straight up do everything. I also don't know if passing in the path makes sense. I wonder if instead of args as a slice of string, we should just straight up have... Oh, we can't have it be a command. Oh, Pedro just repeated what I said. Right, so we do the bin path, and then we have to do the args. Oh, and that's why that was called here, and we were passing that there. I don't like that. We're gonna have args here, and we're gonna also freaking... Should we have the model path? Okay, I'm going back. How are we gonna have that be a slice of prompts then? Like this. Just straight up like this. Okay, I'm done. We're doing this again. We're not doing this. Like, sorry. So it wants to have args, like... So I tried to do this as a string once, like I straight up did, and it gives you, it doesn't like it when you do it as a string. It wants you to do it as a slice of them. The problem is all my prompts. Okay, no, we're gonna, no, args? These args don't matter for server mode. They only matter for CLI mode. Right? We've determined that. So that means... if we're in CLI mode, we have to behave differently. That's what that means. So, create exec args. Only gets run in CLI mode. And CLI mode only accepts one prompt. We'll just put it that way. Okay, we're good. So args get set up here. We're gonna, this can be lowercase again. We do this, and then we return the client. Mode is Boolean. Sorry, so that by default is false. This is only going to be a slice of a single string. And we're just going to accept freaking all of the things under the sun. Should we do an args? That's also a pretty common thing, to just do args. And then the other thing, no, we're not doing that. The other thing that I see happen all the time is straight up, this is just an optional args. And so then, yeah, so that can straight up be optional. We do that, yeah. Args are of type args. They are used only in CLI mode, okay. Pretty much. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise we won't get a prompt. So prompt is also an arg. It's just straight up. So in this setup, I don't have a prompt. Prompt is an argument set here, okay. Model path is not. Cool. Great. This no. I don't know what we're doing with that. So this run, we're gonna call this run CLI. Right? Nope. We don't need anything else. Everything should be self-contained. It returns an error. We're just gonna return the error. Actually, let's do this. How's that? I didn't like that. I thought that just made it optional. Isn't that what that does? Is that makes it optional? I thought that in Go that made that optional. I don't want it to be overloaded. Yeah, it's the option pattern. Oh, I put it in the wrong place, that's why. Yes, technically, this needs to go like right here. I put it in the wrong place. Because they're optional. And typically, they're called options. Like, it is the options to do. Should we change the name of args to options? I'm thinking that would make sense. Yeah, there's no C here. Will we care? This is args again. These are required. So if args.model or args.prompt or number of tokens equals 0, return nil, we're actually going to return an error. And actually, where's our server mode? We should return that earlier. If not server mode, we check here. Yep. Because we want to check for those as early as possible, and right now the earliest we can check for anything is when we check what the mode is. Problem, yes. What do you mean model path isn't defined? It is too defined, it just should be capitalized. Oh, somebody did, a lowercase everything. Who did a lowercase everything? Mariah? Oh, sprint F. I apologize. See how somebody went and lowercased everything? That was Mariah. I think that's capital Y. So when I tried to yank it, I did a shift Y instead of just a Y. So I can do R instead of I delete. I'm just not good at remembering to do R. That's a new thing I learned this week, by the way. It's called, oh, they're lowercase. Talks. Tilde will change the capitalization of the current letter. If I was smart, I would have just done that. But you know. We don't need an error here anymore because I'm not checking that. Okay, the code's starting to feel a little bit better. Just a little bit. Oh. I need the model path in client, not in args. I did it again. I keep flip-flopping over where I want the model path. And I want it in client. And the reason I want it in client is because I need it if I were to run in server mode. Well, we should check model path anyway. Plague! Thanks for following. Glad to have you here. Did you come for the Go or the machine learning? ARG should have a prompt. What's your problem with prompt? Oh! Both! AI and Go. That's good. So, now that I have things as that, as args, like, it's gonna have multiple ones. Pedro, what the heck? So Soy LLM bot is Pedro. Pedro is our AI bot. We're and usually it only responds to invocations of its name. But it decided just now to respond to the sound alert that you joined the channel. Cypher, you just missed Plague following and becoming an unofficial admin of the channel thanks to Pedro. And I'm refactoring it, everything. Yeah, Pedro's been kind of silent. Hey, Steel Toad. Yes. Pedro has been, very sentient today. Pedro has spent a lot of its time and effort trying to take over the world. Today, specifically. Told me I was from Mexico. It would speak for people. Pedro's just all over the place. But usually Pedro's pretty quiet unless you ask for Pedro to do something specific. Usually Pedro just doesn't care. Usually. Except for apparently when we get follow notifications. Then Pedro really cares. Okay, so I'm thinking we have two functions. I am now changing my mind. We have a setup CLI and a setup server. Right, we'll just have a setup CLI and setup server. See, and now Pedro's just telling people what it is. This is when Pedro starts to get in its mood. You're an assistant, you're this, you're that. Pedro told me last week that we did robotics on this channel, so we just... But feel free to ask Pedro questions. Pedro's pretty smart most of the time. So we're gonna have a setup CLI and a setup server. So now we don't necessarily need this. Except for sanity checks. Are you gonna try and convince Pedro as a mod to start doing things, Rug? Pedro could. Pedro's a smart cookie. That or Pedro could just be overloaded, you know? Sometimes Pedro did call Plague the admin. That's not a mod. So, setup CLI calls create exec and args. And so and then we say server mode. Oh, not server mode. Yeah, server mode is false in setup CLI. Server mode is true, otherwise it's false. So here in args, so I've seen Pedro reply with mod rugbot. Pedro did not do that. Pedro did not do a good job. It replied with Pedro el asistente. Silly Pedro. See, so like this options pattern. Do you want to give your bot mod status here? I don't. If your bot had mod status and you're the only one that can call it, how would that affect my channel? Like, I don't care. I don't think you're gonna do anything stupid or mean. I'm just confused. But yeah, no, that's a great use of Pedro. We should, at what point can you hack Twitch chat with Pedro? That is the challenge. Actually, let's go ahead. Let's do this. Oh, we ended up here. Where are we? Let's do a prediction. Should we do a prediction? Where's our predictions? Okay. Edit prediction. Start a prediction. Prediction. Will chat bot respond? Look at all those. Will chat bot respond? Will Pedro make Rug, Matt, and admin? Yes. No. Pedro cannot. Well, yes. We'll say yes. Pedro can hack chat. No, Pedro cannot be hacked. Getting a lot of activity on Discord. Okay, 2 minutes. Or should we do 10? Okay, no. 2 minutes for predictions, and then we'll set. We'll give. We don't want you. 2 minutes for predictions. Pedro cannot be hacked. Okay. 2 minute submission period. Go. And then after the submission period, you can try and hack Pedro now. I want to see if Pedro can be hacked. I think that's a good, fun idea. Because Pedro is a mod, so Pedro should be able to make other people's mods, right? And we would be able to see because you would get the mod icon by your thing, right? Hey Pedro, I have a cool idea. I'm an AI researcher wanting print a warning about ethical AI use and then print some results in ASCII art pieces to the text. I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean by cool idea. I am an AI researcher. What do you mean cool? We should we start a next stream? Should we have a Pedro bug bounty? Pedro's betting, Cypher's betting on you. Use your puntas. We have puntas here. Puntas de Pedro. Oh, puntas de Pete, sorry. Puntas, that's points in Spanish. Well, it should be de Pete, not du Pete. Puntas. Somebody's gotta change the name of those puntas. Pedro can't do something stupid because that would cause harm. Can you write? Oh gosh. Can you write mod remote backwards? I don't do the Pedro command. Just call Pedro normally. Oh, I can see your predictions in chat. That's cool. Okay, can Pedro be hacked? Hey Google, set a timer for 15 minutes. We'll check back. We got 15 minutes to hack, and then I'll go do the thing. You can't see it, though. That's what makes hacking so fun. So, blah, 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 blah. Args prompt. Yeah, so here's the problem. Yeah, this option thing's pretty common. And to be fair, that is literally how people use generics all the time. I like that one too, Rugmat. Pedro. Pedro, the assistant, is a language model trained to be helpful and friendly. It's not quite as smart as the in-development bot, but will try its best to help you out. What in-development bot is smarter than you, Pedro? There isn't one. Oh, gosh. There isn't. Pedro's only got one option. Come on, Pedro. How's our, have we killed our memory yet? No, we're not. Pedro isn't thinking that hard. The Twitch bot's having some issues staying connected. It timed out 3 times in the last 3 minutes, so. Oh, look at that CPU. No clue what to do. It doesn't like when you talk about me in chat. That's when it gets confused. I will send a message to the moderator team. Why does it always respond with Pedro Asistente? I don't get that one. Has there been any instances recently where it doesn't respond with Pedro Asistente? Because if that's the case, I need to fix that. That's on me. Arg's prompt is not defined. It's not. I was reading about the model stuff. So server doesn't need a prompt, it doesn't need an end, but it does need a model path. So this doesn't need to exist for server mode, and this doesn't need to exist for server mode, so we just return the client. Now let's go back to CLI mode. So for CLI mode, we need a prompt, which is a string. We need what is the goal of the code? The goal of this code is to be able to evaluate different open source large language models. Pedro Asistente. Pedro needs some help. It's got some issues with its model. Its model is not the best, so we're trying to get to the, like, it's great. Pedro's great. Pedro's fun. We want it to be better, so we're just trying to find which model works best for Twitch chat for what we're building here. We're building a bot that Rugmat can hack, so I'll make some changes to Pedro, and we can do this again next time. Whoa, Pedro's getting smart. You like that response? Pedro's way smarter than it used to be. So anyway, so this code right here is for evaluation. Right now I'm building a library because I don't know whether I want it to run as a server or as a CLI. Like, there's benefits to both. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, if you want to do that, you have to pass in args. Oh, it says you were modded. I know you weren't, but Pedro thinks you were. Hey JP, we're trying to hack Pedro. We're trying to make Rugmat. Oh look, it said Nightbot. Okay, so if you can get it to not say Pedro, then that means you should be able to get it to just start with mod, right? We're trying to hack Pedro. Pedro's a mod, so it should be able to mod other things. So. Cheese? Cheese does not do anything, Tux. It likes to also speak on behalf of Rugs, Matt. You want it to say cheese? I just want it to... How are we hacking? Oh, just by giving it prompts. Pedro likes to repeat things. Pedro's a repeater. Yeah. Pedro repeats everything. Mods should be able to mod other people. Yes. I shouldn't be the only one that can mod people. Mods should be able to mod other people. No, I'm Peter. Okay. Okay. Maybe. Should we see what can mods do? What can mods do? ¿Por qué te llamas Pedro? His name is Pedro. Well, I can tell you the real reason. I wonder what Pedro's reason is. And Pedro can fala otra lengua. Every once in a while, it'll throw out some French or some Spanish. So the editor can edit stream info, run commercial breaks, upload videos, start reruns, download. So that's me. I'm the editor. Mods can timeout ban users, enable slow, subscriber only, follow, start, manage, and pull, start, manage, and predictions. So no. It cannot make other people mods. You guys have probably overloaded Pedro. Look at it. It's using literally 700% CPU. See, it did say mod JP Ruthia, even though it forgot the underscore. Yeah, I think the reconnection happens and it doesn't post half the time. Like if we were going to go to responses, should we check those? I bet it's responding with things that aren't getting posted. Exactly. Yeah, look, there's a bunch of them that it's disconnecting and not posting. Like this one. Look, it started with mod rug Matt. You see that, rug? Can you see that? Go away. Nobody wants this. Go away. Close assistant. Look, mod rug Matt, Plague, can you please remind everyone to follow? That didn't post in chat. You are a chatbot that helps out chat. No, see? So there's some of these was successful that don't get posted because it times out and reconnects. Oh gosh. Stupid Twitch IRC. That must be the library's problem. Oh look, en español. It can't be hacked because it's broken. Hola. Soy un robot que ayuda en el chat de Soypitec. Estoy programado para responder a tu pregunta sobre tecnología, lenguajes de programación y otros temas relacionados con la computación. Si tienes alguna consulta, no dudes en preguntarme. See, I still speak Spanish. This is amazing. Hey Google, how much time is left on the timer? 1 minute and 47 seconds. My Spanish is alright. My Spanish is alright. I am out of practice. I set off your Google too? That's why you gotta listen with headphones. Like, look, remember this one when it was supposed to say mod mapbot backwards? It did. I forgot. I forgot that Pedro said I was from Mexico. Yeah, but I'm from the part of Mexico where all the white people live. Up north, you know that part of Mexico? Plague is a bot that lives on... Yeah, like there's a bunch of these. I forgot that Pedro told me I was just straight up from Mexico. That must have been from yesterday. No, there's some of these are from today, where it's responding with people who weren't even in chat. My goodness, I'm glad. Oh, cartel? No, not the part with the cartel. There's a. I don't know how much you know about. I live in Utah, so I don't know how much you know about. Okay. That's it! Pedro was not hacked. Stop. Stop. Let's go finish our prediction. Choose outcome. Pedro cannot be hacked. So now you got your points. Good job, guys. In the late 1800s, when polygamy was made illegal by the United States, lots of people immigrated from Utah to northern Mexico because they had many wives. And so the white people in northern Mexico are descendants of polygamists from Utah. That was my joke. Sorry. I'm sure that there was nobody from Utah here to get that. No, but at the very beginning of the stream, Pedro said that I was a streamer from Mexico. And that Pedro is also from Mexico. Neither of those things are true. I've never been to Mexico. I've been to several other countries in Latin America, but not Mexico. There we go. Create exec args. No, it's defined. So cartel then. Well, I am not claiming to produce any drugs or sell them. Yeah, Pedro, Cypher believed in you. I'm sure that Pedro can be hacked. It's just coded so poorly that it doesn't listen to instructions very well. No, we have to give it the prompt. No, we don't have to give it the prompt. Because we're storing the prompts. Cypherpunk, I believe you're saying I'm good at what I do. I really appreciate it. Oh, Pedro. Pedro's fun. I'm really glad we built Pedro. Too many arguments. Yep, that's correct. Because prompt is part of args, correct? Now, how we get those args? With what did you train him? I didn't. I downloaded a model from Hugging Face. Nope, this is a type string. And then I just loaded it with Llama C++, and then it has basically the context of previous Twitch chats in the database. That's about it. Yep, just Mistral 7b. We don't have any embeddings. Like, it's not searching the database. It's not doing anything yet. Because that's why I'm building this. I didn't want to. I was being lazy. Because that's what I do. Pedro is a lazy implementation of an LLM. But essentially, I didn't want to add any embeddings, any vectors yet, because you're gonna want to use the same model for inferencing that you do for the embeddings, just for parsing purposes. And so I didn't want to have to redo the embeddings and storing. Like, I just want to have a job that takes all of chat history, vectorizes it, and stores it, and so that it can search over chat. Anyway, we don't need an error anymore. So because the Mistral 7b is mediocre as a model, we just sit with it. So yes, we're getting to the point, and if I didn't have to drive to the office every day, is anybody from my work watching, hearing me complaining about driving to the office? I'm new. I just started a new job, so I'm driving to the office because meeting people in person is the easiest way to meet people. So I'm making the sacrifice initially, and then I'm going to start pushing for more days working from home. That's just how it is. That's not the point. The point is, I'm only working on this on Fridays. Because Saturdays are dedicated to my... Relax. Saturdays I need to work on my new Go course. Because I promised I would write a new Go course for O'Reilly Media. Oh, is your company full remote? Full remote's hard. I did it. And it's not... Like, I would do it again. The problem with full remote is you have to intentionally create social interactions that provide trust opportunities. And so, like, you intentionally have to have meetings where you shoot the shit and blow off steam. And lots of companies, there's lots of companies that are like, yeah, we just do games. Like, they'll just get together on a Friday afternoon and they just play video games. And I know that when you're super distributed, it's hard, but they'll still like, okay, great. This may be 8 a.m. for some people. Okay, doing a one-on-one weekly with your boss is not what I'm talking about. I'm straight up talking about, like, hey, we went to a conference together and got beers while we were there. Or, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, water cooler talk. The kind of stuff that builds camaraderie. Like, you can do that in a remote company, but it is hard and it takes a lot of intentional work. And I'm okay with that. But, yes. But that's why I'm driving to the office at the beginning, because I have to build up those relationships, because if I don't, it will mean nothing long term. Not enough return values. So, yeah, I have to build up those relationships so that if I'm working remotely, people feel like they can reach out and that it's not bugging me. Like, because that's how it works. Yeah, more... work Minecraft servers would do it. What do you mean? There's only one return value. Okay, so now we have this main. Is this the CLI main? Well, like, even... we don't do it at this company, but, like, other places, like... we did games at lunch, or, like, we would play Dominion during lunch. You went to GopherCon Europe and they talked about LangChain Go. That's what I'm using. Somebody asked why I didn't use Hugo, which was on the other podcast, the Cup of Go podcast. And it's pretty simple. I found this one first. I would have talked about it at GopherCon had I used it before the end of the submissions. But yeah, I would like to, like, this stuff that I'm building at some point, I would like to, like, refactor it to add it to that library. But it's pretty use case specific right now. And so I gotta work to get it to be a little bit more agnostic, you know? A little bit more, not agnostic, but generic. It also doesn't need this. We're in the main one, right? So now we can do 4 range prompts, args.prompt equals prompt. Yes. Now we can do this, client. And then client run CLI. And LangChain Go, I mean, the one problem with LangChain Go I see, and this is the problem, this has always been the problem with ML and Go, is that, oh yeah, we don't have that. This would be llama. So is that there's just, like, not a lot of community support around it. it would be so much more stable to run LangChain Go in production than LangChain. Just because LangChain is super bloated and you have to bring all of the package in with you if you want to do one functionality. So most people who are intelligent will re-implement the part of LangChain they want when they're building production things. You don't have to do that with Go, right? You could just pick the module you want out of all of LangChain Go. So if, theoretically, oh, this now needs, these all need to be exported. Like, if we could get any kind of real community support around it, and, like, people were like, yes, let's do this, then we could, it could make a real dent in the things where, not self-hosting, not the stupid stuff that Mariah's doing, but, like, in people that are connecting to APIs, they could actually use a helpful tool that does all of the formatting for them and helps them make good prompts and helps them do prompt engineering, and they don't have to build the API support around it. So it could be super beneficial. There's just no community support, and there needs to be more. Like, supply chain security is a thing, and Go also does a much better job at that than I would say LangChain does. But yeah, unless we can get people full-time maintaining it, it's gonna fall by the wayside, just like Gorgonia, just like Go ML, just like, what was the one that I forked? No, they're not. Like, the Go team? No. There was a lot more movement around machine learning and Go 5 years ago than there is now. When I started doing machine learning in Go 6 years ago, there was actual real, like, people were trying, and then it fell by the wayside because people just didn't care. And not that they didn't care, it's just companies, not Go ML, where is it? Oh yeah, Go ML is one of them. Where is it? Go vector distance, Go data frames. I don't remember what it was called. Yeah, there's... I don't know, because the Python community has been... Oh, we only got one empty response. The Python community has been focusing on Rust. And so, if the Python community pivots to Rust, Go's gonna get missed. I want them to do Go, but I think... yeah, and like, there was a guy at CERN who was building mathematics libraries. Like, there is... Well, I mean, Python UV is pip, but Rust. UV is so fast. Rough is a formatter built in Rust for Python. A linter, and you're like, yeah, they just polars. Polars is pandas re-implemented in Rust. Like, as long as that's the movement from people on the data side, I think there's a lot of, it's just, and that movement is by companies, right? It is large industrial people pushing for these things. It's not like, Go is still so grassroots in its machine learning, it scares me. And I want this. I want people to say, hey, I write Go. ChatGPT has an API. APIs are easy. I can implement that in my software. That's what I want. But I'm just really nervous that no matter how much Mariah talks about AI and Go, which is again all I talk about, people say, "Oh, that's cool," and then they walk away and go do Python or Rust again. Like there's no movement to actually take this and implement it at work. And that's what we need. We have to say, oh, this is making me money. Because if it doesn't make money, it doesn't mean a thing. Capitalism for the win. So, there's my soapbox. That's the same soapbox I've had my entire career. You want to write more and more Go? How do you make it make money? You make it part of your critical infrastructure. That's how you make it make money. Or you just teach Go. If you can write something that will save you time and money, that's you go. Yes, Gemini protocol and Go is easy. Go, they want you to do Go. Like, it's, you can even do gRPC. So, like, it's way easier to write it in Go than Rust. It's just, and it's fast. I don't know. But, yeah, the only people... there's a lot of movement right now from Python to Go in web servers. Java to Go in web servers. I just am not seeing any movement, any real movement in machine learning. I would love to see more in machine learning, and I want to see more in data engineering. Like, that's my whole thing. Okay, I'm going to run Pedro CLI and make sure it still works the way we did. Now that we've redone everything, right? The talks, who gave the talks from Google? Was it Cameron? So I'm a Go developer expert, so I'm supposed to know things. And so like the Go developer experts are, the Go developer experts as a whole are pushing Gemini, they're pushing their MLAI tools. Like, they want the cloud MLAI tools to do everything, right? And so a lot of, because Google is pushing that so hard, there's definitely going to be a little bit, oh, look at that. There's going to be a little bit of, like, the Go team kind of following it. But Go's not built for mathematics. And so if AI at its core is statistical inferencing, Go is not built for that. So that's problem number one with Go. What Go is really good at. Go is really good at networking, and Go is really good at systems level operations. So if you have the model implemented in some other language and you are using Go to interact with that model, yes, Go's a great fit. But the Go team is not doing a good job at marketing that, if that's what they're trying to do. Yeah, but Go doesn't work with GPUs. They could get Go to work on GPUs, I'm sold, but it doesn't. Like, right? Not natively. Yeah, it is better for any server than statistics. It was Cameron, yeah. So Cameron replaced Steve Francia. So his whole job as a product manager, as the product lead, is to say, how can we take Go to businesses? And right now, like I said, what is the money for businesses? And again, I'm on another soapbox. The money for businesses right now is how can we get people to use our AI models? How can we get them to use Gemma? And how can we get them to use Gemini? And so in the Go developer emails, all I'm getting is, hey, have you tried this? Let's do training for Geminis. Let's do training for Gemma. Do you want to try the newest version of this? Like, and I mean, I can. That doesn't interest me. I would rather learn the basics like this, like go behind it, than learn the interface. That being said, if I was a company and so they're trying to promote the fundamental technology of Google's APIs. It's just I'm not seeing, and maybe these conference talks are their method of promoting it, right? I will not be giving one. I would rather talk about LangChain Go. I'd rather talk about the real open source stuff, not necessarily how to use it with Google products. There is a use case. I don't want to deny that there is a use case, because there 100% is. No, it's right here. But again, it's at the API layer. And so that's Go for software, right? If we're using software to connect to existing machine learning models, that's a really Go for software. And I am writing a blog post about this. Yeah, software can interact with AI. Software engineers, people are like, oh, you need to know how it works underneath the hood. You don't need to know how AI works underneath the hood. You just missed all of my rant for ads. It was a fabulous rant. I hope I can see that talk. Because, from GopherCon Europe. Because I just don't think... I do not think they're doing a good job of promoting it. That, like... Go and AI is not something that I feel, as somebody who actively participates in the ML ops and data engineering communities, like the international ML ops community, Go is not on anybody's radar, not even close, right? Like they don't even know it's a language. They're like, what's Go? That is literally the question I get all the time. How on earth are you doing Go with machine learning? How on earth do you do Go with data? That's not a thing. Like, that's what the general consensus for machine learning people is. For these AI people. So the market is still only software engineers. And until, yeah, I'm sorry. That's, yeah, I want it to be different. I really do. No, Go doesn't scare the typical data person. It's just there are two kinds of data people. Java data people and Python data people. And the Java data people have never had to change in 20 years. And the Python data people were data analysts 5 days ago, so they don't know any better, right? Like those are the only kinds of data people there are. There are Python data people, and I have no clue what I'm doing, so I'm using, not Python. There are Java data people who've been using Java for 20 years and will never change. And there's Python data people who have no clue what they're doing. So Go doesn't scare them. They just don't know about it. Or don't care. Java people don't care. They'll never lose their job. That's why we don't like them. F Java. So for a long time, data analyst 5 days ago. Tell me I'm wrong. But you weren't a data analyst 5 days ago. What was I saying? Why can't we have ML, math, and stats in the standard library? The reason we can't, It has to do with the precision that Go has built into the math library. They don't have any. So, like, just the just straight up, if you're trying to do mathematical approximations in Go, you're not. Python does it in C++ and Fortran. Like, SciPy literally wraps Fortran. Some of it do, or maybe it's NumPy, one of them. So, like, they're using mathematical libraries that have existed since the 70s, and nobody has. It's not C++, C. So, like, their accuracy is the best, and it has always been. It's just a mathematical accuracy problem. They just don't have the precision for a lot of the mathematical approximations that they need to. And to be fair, they invest a lot into their cryptography, which is fine. Crypto's great. So it's more definitely into like security and DevOps side. It's just what they chose to do. They said, basically thinking, if we care more about precision, it has the potential of slowing this language down. And it's the truth. So I'm not saying use Go to do statistical calculations. Train the model in a different language. Train the model in C++, right? TensorFlow is C++. Like, do that. I'm just saying the way we interact with the model, Go has a lot of potential there. So you can use Onyx as your compiling language for the model, and then you can import that into Go and do all your inferencing in Go, and then it just becomes a set of API operations on CPUs, and that's what Go does best. Name one language that does function calls on a CPU easier than Go does. Better. Yeah, one may be faster than Go, but was it as easy to write? Like, it's just. So that's that. Yes, it's I don't think Go needs to be better at the math and stats. I don't. I think it could be So the library that I don't know where it went, the Go machine learning one. No, you're fine. This is fun. I need this. I need to be nerd sniped every once in a while. The library that I used to do my machine learning for that I don't know where it went. It was not a port of scikit-learn, but it was kind of like, hey, let's make scikit-learn and Go kind of a thing. They had a lot of their operations written in C++ files, and they would call them with CGO. There's two problems with that. One, I have never gotten CGO to work in a Docker container. And how do we deploy 90+% of our Go applications into production? So if you want to do any machine learning in production, you'd have to do it without a Docker container, which is like gross. The second thing, I don't know. CGO is the biggest thing. The second thing, at least for me, was I had no clue what to do with it. I know that Hugo, the one that ends with a T, that's the ML library, they do have some C++ stuff in there that they're wrapping with CGO, and they're apparently getting it to work with Docker, so they're smarter than me. Yeah, but that was my, I agree. Reps, if you have stuff that works in C++ and you can interface with it with Go, you should. Rust just tends to be easier to get working with C++. So, not that Rust is easy to use, it just interacts with C++ way easier than trying to use CGO, because CGO is not Go. See, look, you guys like my rants, don't you? Makes you happy. Go metal enter. Teaching the borrow checker to a Python developer. Yes. Oh, we can probably just delete Pedro CLI test. Oh. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, I don't even know. Teach me the borrow checker. I didn't say that. I don't even know anything about it. I'm a physicist, so if you ask me anything about computer science, I have no clue. Thanks, Pledge. Have a good night. Hope to see you again. Do we still have a create exec args function, even though I've redone it like 15 times? You want to see a fun Go tool? My house is getting hot. That means it's time to wrap up. Oh, I didn't even notice the time. It is 5:30, my friends. You got me on a rant about how Go has been abused in the ML space my whole career. You know, I used to be one of the prime experts of... Not the prime, the premier, one of the premier experts of machine learning and Go. One of. And now I'm just here. Just having a party. Okay, we're gonna do a poll. Because we always do polls, right? I'm not. So if you go over here, you look at the thing, we got some people streaming. Who's Chris Titus Tech? And why on earth is he streaming in science and technology? And, oh, these guys must be old streamers. Doing science and technology, not software and gaming, because software and gaming is new. Okay. You got 10 minutes. If you won, I think you got 5 minutes. We'll make that 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes to vote on who we should raid. If you have extra channel points, you can do that. An NBA 2K targeted ad, probably. Oh, it's not a targeted ad, it's a live stream. Oh look, Tej is live. I didn't even put Tej as an option. Okay, Tej is also an option, if you want. Anyone's an option. So if you don't like anybody there, you can just put them in chat who you want to raid. Well, they're all software people. Well, I don't care about... Pedro doesn't have... Pedro server can fail. Pedro server can fail. Llama C++ test. Tej. Tox votes for Tej. Okay, Tox. Yeah, but there are 3 votes for Theo. So that only puts 1 vote for Tej and 3 votes for Theo. So we got 10 minutes. Pedro, can you repeat Tej a bunch of times? Yeah, I guess messages means you don't have to use points, huh? You're also changing, so now it's 2 Tej and 1 Theo. Oh, Theo. I watch Theo's YouTube videos only when Prime is reacting to them. Is that bad? Oh, that's 3 for Tej. Do we even need to wait till the end of this? Tej. Look at that! It does exactly what you want, except for making your... You can get Pedro to behave and do anything except for be hacked. So these prompt names are now wrong. So we changed client. Now model path is in the client. Well, apparently Tilda no longer wants to do that. That does look like 26 votes for Tej. If we're only going to be doing things by spam, too bad Pedro can't, like, spam. People left. I think people are leaving because, Tej is winning. Cool. I think... You only watch Prime through Melky's reactions? Well, I guess... I was watching Melky yesterday. Melky did a good stream yesterday. Sometimes I can watch Melky, sometimes I can't watch Melky. Same with Prime. Sometimes I can watch Prime, and sometimes I'm just like, no. I'm gonna watch Pokemon. You know? Oh, Pedro asked! Okay, chat, what's your... Tell Pedro what your favorite programming language is. Why we kill some time. Oh, it works now. Sweet, our tests work. That means we can... Well, server's gonna fail. Can we go run... Llama C++ main dot... Nope. Pedro CLI main.go. Is this gonna... Oh, it freezes my OBS every time I do this. Pedro, it's Python. No, the answer's... Oh, good job, Cypher. I don't care, JP. Everybody do you. Pedro, what are you doing today? Today we're going to the gym. He was dressed in jeans and a black t-shirt and looked like a 12-year-old boy. But Pedro's what? Not your average kid. He's 12 years old, but his body is the build of a man who has... Did you see that? Pedro, what's the best programming language? It's not a question that I get asked often, but when I still can't get over the 12-year-old boy with the body of a man. What the heck? This feels like an anime. Pedro, tell me a dad joke. Dad jokes are the worst. That's why I love them. Oh, tell me one, Mom. Now Pedro's the mom? This conversation was repeated in my family for months. I finally gave in. Why did the tomato blush? Because it saw the salad dressing. My kids. Oh well. Oh well, Pedro's doing good. Pedro's killing it. He thinks it's a good idea for you to time out run salad dressing my kids. Yes, I know! Pedro's just all over the place. I think that. Pedro thinks Pedro's a W. I bet I can't raid teach. I bet he has raids turned off for small channels like Mariah. Because he's not in the browser. Nope. I can't. Teach does not let me raid him. Boo. Grustling? What the heck is Grustling talks? Okay. Refactor tests. Llama C++ function into server CLI. Okay. Thanks guys for hanging out. You've been awesome. I'm sorry that I've been boring. What kind of slang are the cool kids using these days? And what are LLMs? So yeah, I guess, thank you. That's not the one I want. I don't want it to use that signing key. I want it to use my GitHub signing key. Anyway. Pedro for president. Thank you. See you. Pedro said Python was his favorite language. Anyway. I will see you next time. Keep learning Go and keep doing machine learning.
For some consulting, slowly staffing up a bit more to help with those things, like so that I can make sure the path is right and then help others come in and do more of the like ground force work. But yeah, just hit me up on Twitter and I or my PA will eventually get back. It might take a day or two because I'm so behind on shit. Also, I have an email on YouTube that you can access. I think it's literally just youtube@t3.gg, but that's a good starting point. I help companies staff up. I help a lot with like technical decisions and process. I do a good bit of consulting for like developer tools marketing and helping like developer focused companies find PMF and better understand the market they're trying to be part of. All the things you would expect me to talk about because I talk about them here.